Guys, this conversation with Claire was so incredible. I've re-listened to the episode a few times already. It's so amazing. But I just wanted to share that there were a couple audio glitches when I had to convert the file formats into the app that I use to edit the podcast episodes. So there might be some volume fluctuations because I had to do a few voiceovers in times that you could not understand what I was saying, and she cut out a couple times. So, I hope you can still gather the just impactful message that she had to share. Here is a sneak peek of the episode. I hope you enjoy.
And realize that we're socially conditioned to be ourselves up to the point that other people don't approve.
Oh,
and
do that again. That was
be you, but don't be too you, because that makes me feel uncomfortable. We get that message and from people that love us.
Hey mama, welcome to the Balanced Mom Method podcast, a safe space to help you transform the way that you approach motherhood and life. If you're a mom struggling with self-worth, overwhelmed with overstimulation, looking to slow down, conquer mom guilt, let go of external pressures, or even embark on a spiritual awakening, you are in the right place. Let's break free from that survival mode cycle by waking up from autopilot and authentically embracing our inner self-love, trust, and connection. Imagine if every single part of your life was perceived through a lens of expansion, value, worthiness, self-awareness, and acceptance. Hey, I'm Jenna, and I've been where you are. I was consumed in the struggles of motherhood and was always in my own head, never feeling good enough. I realized if I wanted to make a change, it started within me. And in finding that freedom, I've dedicated my life's work to helping other moms heal from the inside out to come back home to themselves too. So take my hand, mama. Let's set the foundation to live an intentional life full of peace, presence, confidence, clarity, belief, joy, love, and balance. If you are ready to weed the fluff, get to the root of cultivating real change, and feel connected to yourself on a love-rooted level, let's dive in and discover the power within you. Warm up that cold coffee, pop in your earbuds, and tighten that top knot, mama. Let's overcome together. Hello, beautiful mamas, and welcome back to another episode of the Balanced Mom Method podcast. This is your host and intuitive life guide, Jenna Smith, and today we have a very special guest who embodies the essence of holistic healing and empowering transformation. Claire Uncapher, a dynamic speaker and coach, brings a just unique blend of expertise from her background in clinical nursing, energy therapy, and transformational coaching. She is on a mission to help individuals on their transformative path, helping them from past traumas, self-limiting beliefs, long-standing issues with her holistic approach to depression and anxiety. She leverages over a decade of experience in the industry with her holistic and intuitive approach, incorporating techniques around root cause work, subconscious work, emotional release, conversational energy work. And I'm just so excited, like all this stuff. I'm like, I can't wait to dive in. And she helps clients just guide them towards understanding and overcoming their inner obstacles and unblocking and unlocking their best versions of themselves. So Claire, I want to pass over the mic to you just to share a little bit more about yourself and what led you to your life's work.
Well, thank you, Jenna. Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited about this conversation too. So I do consider this like my work, my mission, and it's driven like so many other people from my own experience. I struggled with anxiety and depression. They actually called it treatment resistant, which means I took the medication and did all the things they told me to do, even a ton of, holistic modalities, but I just wasn't, I could never get above it. I could never rise above it. I kept falling back into that black hole. And I found my way out, and I found my way out through subconscious work. Mm-hmm. And I know that when I say that, I don't want to hear about this, but when I started doing it, it was like, are we all not doing this? Because I sat across from a therapist and I could not have accessed the information because I wasn't conscious of it. Mm-hmm. And so my subconscious mind that knows everything about me told me, it's an interactive process, went on a journey to discover the root cause, the reason I was experiencing anxiety and depression. And so I went from managing the symptoms of depression and anxiety to healing the reasons I was feeling that way. And then just things started to change. And yeah, so that's essentially what I do. But then I started helping women, and it wasn't just the root cause work I started learning. Like that's a huge piece, but there were other things we needed to hurdle, other patterns that I noticed in women that identify with having struggles with depression and anxiety. And one example is people pleasing and not feeling safe or giving ourselves permission to speak our truth, wants, needs, desires, and stand up for that, even in the face of disapproval and disappointment, and learning how to do that without guilt, without feeling like the bad guy. So all kinds of things.
Oh my gosh, where do we start? Like there's so much to unpack here because I feel like I'm in like the first decade of waking up myself. And like everything that you said, I was getting emotional because I'm like, that is exactly where I was too. Like you want to heal, or you want to fix. Let's not even use heal yet. You want to fix. So you go after the symptoms and you go after all the outside stuff. And the more that I'm learning, it's like it starts inside. And I'm learning about the subconscious work and, energetics and stuck emotions. And I'm just like, it is like, whoa, mind blowing.
The stuck emotions is a big part too. Yeah.
Yes. And it's just, you almost have to uncondition yourself a little bit before almost like accepting, like, is this kind of what it is? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's kind of bad news a little bit when I think people hear about it. I had a marketing coach very early on that was like, you can't tell people that it's going to be a lot of work. They won't sign up.
Which is so sad.
And I was like, well, so lie to them? I'm not doing that, And they're like, no, you don't tell them about the work. And it is work, but it's work that feels good. It's work that feels freeing. It's releasing. It's like, oh my goodness, thank God, and I connect. I listened to a few of your podcasts. I love your message. I'm a mom of 4. So the struggle is real with us. And you talk a lot about losing ourselves. And you're right. It's about coming back to us, coming back to your true self. And we don't even know that we aren't our true selves and until we start loving ourselves again and trusting ourselves and respecting ourselves and giving ourselves compassion and caring for ourselves. And I can tell you, so, the root cause work, the biggest, most surprising thing for me was we are, you're not going to like, let me talk about my relationship with my mom or, like anything specific like that. The real damage is the belief or the interpretation that you made mean something about you or the world around you. So something happened, whatever it was, and children do this all the time, and they make it mean that they're bad or that they're not good enough, and we did that too. And so we form this conclusion and belief, and the way beliefs work is they kind of run in the background until you replace them or upgrade them or look at them and go like, well, that's not true. And so they sit there and color everything. And for women that struggle with depression and anxiety, they have beliefs such as, it's not okay to be me. I'm not lovable just the way I am. I have to earn love. Something is inherently wrong with me. What I want is not available to me. I don't matter. My needs don't matter. And so they can have all this positivity and growth work on the outside, but on the inside, they really feel that way. I call it the ugly truth. And so once you uncover that ugly truth, then it's freeing. It's like, my God, well, now right. I understand.
And I always say on the show, and this is something I live by, it's like, let's pull it out from under the rug. Let it be, you felt like you weren't being heard, or you felt like you didn't have a voice, like, and we just shove it under the rug, shove it under the rug, shove it under the rug, and we don't acknowledge what's truly going on. And it's hard. Like, it's so hard to be able to come to that acceptance and that acknowledgement.
Well, it's a choice that you have to make, that you're not going to push it down in a way, and you're not going to try to avoid it. And a good question I like to ask myself is, what is it that I do not want to know here? What do I not want to know? What truth am I avoiding? And that's a really good question to ask yourself to get to it. You know, it's really funny. So many of my clients say that once they start this healing journey, they feel like, you know, they said, picture yourself around a dining room table with your family. Everybody's like acting like everything's fine and normal. And you're like, what the hell is going on? So,
Yeah.
you know, once you lift up that rug and sweep it out, your perspective is different. You see the dysfunction and you kind of decide you're not going to participate in it anymore, but we don't participate it with kindness and directness and honesty. But yeah, just that, you know, what am I, so it doesn't have to be hard. It has to be that you're not afraid anymore of it.
Right.
You're not afraid. And, you know, when my husband and I had an agreement that we came to, that we're like, we're not going to avoid the ugly things anymore, you know? And so sometimes I'll say something and I'm like, I'm really sorry. That's my truth. That's how I feel. I can't unfeel it. And I'm sorry it's inconvenient to hear. But we're going to say those things because when you speak the ugly truth, it's real and people know that, and people can relate to that.
And especially like with a loved one, like a spouse, you almost have that underlying, once you have that communication, you have that underlying, this is for the good for both of us. And because my husband and I have gone through the same like growth journey, like we're always still on it. But to have those hard conversations, because neither one of us are good communicators until we hit that threshold, you know,
Right.
So we're very much aware of that. And we had very similar conversations. It's like, neither one of us want to have this conversation. We might not want to talk about it, but we're together, like we're a team here. So that's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I love that question that you ask yourself. So is that something that you also ask your clients? Because let's say like someone might not be aware of like those underlying factors or what they have shoved under the rug. Like, how do you kind of help them through that depression, anxiety to recognize and acknowledge these root causes?
I would recommend, like, literally to everyone to consider seeing a practitioner for a root cause session, rapid transformational therapy session. It's a specific kind of root cause work. I do it, but just you can Google it and find somebody in your area. That will really, it's like a surgeon just cutting through the crap and yanking out the problem and showing it to you. So that's the easiest way, but you don't have to do that. Yeah, it can be stuff like just asking yourself, like, okay, I don't want to operate on the smoke and mirrors of the things I'm doing to distract myself. So I'm upset. What's really going on? What's really going on? And it's going to be something so simple, like I just am not in control of this situation and I don't like it. I mean, that's just it, you know? Or I want people to like me. And so I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And so that's the truth, you know? And so, and what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of knowing? Well, big one is I'm afraid I'm going to know and have to realize and admit that I'm not happy. And that's going to mean some inconvenient changes. So I really don't want to know that. And people will expend a lot of energy not knowing what they already know.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And like, I'm just thinking like in our body, like it's just compounding and hardening and hardening. And it's just getting harder and harder because I'm going through a meditation certification right now. And we were talking about healing, right? And like just allowing meditation to like move through freely. However, you know, if thoughts come in your mind, like we're not shoving them out. That's what meditation is. We're accepting everything.
Right.
And our teacher the other day, I hope I don't lose this thought, he was sharing how things that need to come up, those ugly things that come up in meditation, we think we're doing it wrong. but that's the healing. Like that's the awareness coming through to sit with it. And if you're
Yeah.
not in a space capacity today, say, okay, not today, we're not going to go there. But when you're ready, allow it to come through because it's going to keep coming until we work through it. And
Right.
he
And
obviously
if you
explained
can
it
do
well.
that, and if you can do that, and a lot of what I do is getting clients to stay with the process
Mm-hmm.
and don't start figuring it out with their logical minds,
Mm-hmm.
and because you just say the truth is this, and the answer. And when people say, I don't know, say, well, if you did know, what would the answer be?
Mm-hmm.
And also that thing that I don't want to have happen, if it happened, what would that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would mean I'm a failure, or it would mean I'm a bad mom, or it would mean that's the truth you're trying to avoid. That's the belief, the trigger. And so then you go, oh, I realized I always used to say, I'm such a bad mom. I'm such a bad mom. And my husband said, you should really like heal that belief. And I went, oh, if only I knew how to do that. And so I went back to the root cause of my belief of I'm a bad mom. And you know what it was? When my oldest child, who's 18 now, getting ready to go off to college, was an infant, I was trying to get him down for a nap and he just wouldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, for the ever live and love in God, go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
child. But
Right.
he
You
would
need
not
it.
go.
Yeah.
And I was starting to get angry at him and frustrated with him. Just sleep because I need a break, right? You sleep because I need a break. And he fell asleep and I said, I won. I won. And in that moment, I judged myself because when you're doing subconscious work, you're able to be aware of the thoughts going through your head at that time. I know
Mm-hmm.
that sounds really abstract, but it's actually very simple and natural. And so when you can recall something, you say, and what is that, 32-year-old you thinking right now? And you just know, and you're like, I'm such a bad mom to try to force my child, my beautiful, angelic, sweet, loving child,
Mm-hmm.
to sleep because I'm sick and tired of him, because I've been with him 24/7 since he was born. And
Mm-hmm.
I just would like to take a shower.
Right.
I'm such a bad mom. And so that was the beginning hook that I made a decision. A belief is formed when you get anything from an outside source, like parents, teachers, or yourself, and you believe it to be true.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking this meditation course from your teacher, your brain will filter stuff out, this teacher says, if it's not congruent with your beliefs. But
Mm-hmm.
if you decide something he says is true and you're like, that's true, you have formed a belief. And, most of them are great beliefs, especially with the healing kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first hook. And so that was a belief I had. And so I would always say to myself, you're such a bad mom. And I have a process I take people through to heal those beliefs and release the emotions, the guilt, and everything around it. And it just felt so freeing. And I was like, I'm a good mom. I'm a great mom, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a tough moment, and so that's kind of how it's undone.
That's so beautiful. And I'm just like staring at you because it's so it's so beautiful. Just that you said this, I think like it's so natural. And it's how like our innate body, it's how we work, right? Naturally.
Mhm.
So speaking of like authenticity and trusting ourselves, like how can you help someone through that journey to get back to their authentic self? Let it be they have just accepted all of the outside noise, the pressures, the expectations, the people pleasing, like they want to be perfect, all this stuff. Like how can you help them kind of, I don't know what step that is, in your coaching, but how
Yeah,
does
it's
that kind
actually
of
the
look?
second step. The first thing I do is we talk about and realize that we're socially conditioned to be ourselves up to the point that other people don't approve.
Oh, say
And
that again. That was like,
be you, but don't be too you, because that makes me feel uncomfortable. We get that message and from people that love us and support us and our cheerleaders. It's just the way we're hardwired. And so, yeah, do what you want to do unless it inconveniences me or disappoints me or upsets me or is in conflict with my values, beliefs, and what I think you should do. But so we talk about that and they realize that and they're able to see it. Then we do a root cause session to the moment that that self-trust was fractured, and we repair that. And it's about getting quiet. So it's 4 steps, actually. Getting quiet. What do I want? What do I think? What do I need? What do I desire? Right? A lot of people, we don't stop. We let other people can talk us into stuff, or we just like make decisions. We don't come out of that everyday consciousness mode very often. So just, well, how do I feel about this? Oh, it doesn't feel very good. What about that bothers me? And just getting to it. And then after you get comfortable doing that, and that's hard for some people actually, then you start expressing that. You start expressing that. And then after you've expressed it, you have to know people are not going to say, this is the ugly truth. People are not going to say, good for you, Jenna. Look at you being your true self. Oh my gosh, that's so inspiring. Actually, you're going to get a little bit of a change back response. And because when you really do listen, tough decisions come up. Like, I don't want to go to that family dinner. I had a client who had some conflict within her family, and she was sitting at her brother's house, who she doesn't even speak to, on Christmas Day. And she was so uncomfortable in her body, and she just felt like it was a self-betrayal to be there. But her mother had threatened her, if you don't come, our relationship is going to change, And she got up and left. And so she honored herself. She wasn't going to put herself in a situation that she didn't feel safe or accepted or loved. And she was the bad guy. Her whole family attacked her. And so you kind of become the bad guy. And what's wrong with you?
Well, right. Yeah. I totally
understand. Because the easy decisions and the decisions that don't affect people are great. But, if it's like, no, I'm sorry, we're not going to be participating in that. Well, why? People want a reason. And then if they don't think it's a very good reason, they'll try to talk you out of it. And now I'm not listening to myself anymore, because I came to the decision that's really not right for me. And I allowed someone else to talk me out of that. And we do that so often that we don't even realize it. And then we find ourselves in a life that we're unhappy in, and we don't know why.
Totally. And I feel like you mentioned you have steps. And I feel like, because you said a lot of people struggle with those first couple steps, I feel like it is like the getting started, like anything in life. It's the getting started piece. And then you have the backlash of what you just shared, and then you stop. Didn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, I just see this happening in so many different, areas, not just in this work. But talk a little bit about that. Like, how do you help people through kind of being like, is this not working for me, because they're getting that backlash? But like, we know it's like, it's good.
Yeah. Well, it's self-protective, right? I talked to somebody yesterday that, she's made the decision to back away from a relationship because she felt like she was under attack every time she was with this person. And she's like, I'm just sick of going out into the field so that I can get stabbed by a spear. And so it's a form of self-care, and it doesn't extreme, but I think what we need to tell people that we don't tell people is that it's not going to feel very good, because you're going to feel, at first, you're going to feel guilty. You are going to be viewed as the bad one, and you will, people won't, if they don't get it, they'll try to talk you out of it. And so it feels like you have to like muster all this strength. And so that is the truth. So how you do it is you realize that the cost of not being true to yourself is too high. The cost is too high. The cost is depression and anxiety and resentment and anger, and living a life that doesn't make you happy or just not feeling good. And so, or worst case scenario, self-betrayal. So the cost is too high. I'm not willing to pay that cost. I've done that for 40 something years, which is more time than people do for murder, by the way. So I'm just I'm gonna do this. And so you understand that it's going to be uncomfortable. You are going to be the bad guy, and you allow them to have their reactions, and a little bit like a toddler having a temper tantrum. And you stay calm, you stay honest, you stay direct, you stay kind, but you stay to your core and to your truth. And sometimes especially it depends on the relationship. If it's my husband, I will even start question myself. Well, am I seeing this? Am I being closed off in this? Do I want to open up? Do I want to be flexible? How can I take care of myself in this? So it's not about drawing a line and drawing out the sword. It's just listening, giving yourself permission, understanding that we are hardwired to behave in ways that the tribe and the group approve of. And if we go too far outside of that approval, we will be herded right back in line. Many of us have just are rebellious and have decided that's a bunch of BS. I don't want to do that. I want to live my own life. And the group is going to try to herd you back and try to get you to fall in line. But, some choices I make, some decisions my husband and I make, our families, we're judged, we're ridiculed, we're criticized. We don't care. We don't care. And you do feel selfish sometimes, but you have to take care of yourself, because if you don't, the outcome is burnout, and you just can't do that. So I need, and what your capacity is different all the time. Right? Like when I had my last son, I was 42, 43. How old was I when I had him? And I was older. And it was tougher on my physical body than the previous children had been in my 20s and early 30s. And so my capacity was lower. And so I saved my energy for my children, for myself, for my husband, for my circle. And I was unapologetic about extending it beyond that, because I just didn't have the capacity. And I, instead of beating myself up, was just like, this is how it is.
Oh my gosh, my husband and I, it's not even a code, it's an unsaid code word. Like we'll say, like if something comes up or plans, if we're like, we have the option and we're like, our own energy bubble, our own, like that's our thing. Like let's stay in our own family energy bubble this weekend or whatever that is, because we're both very much introverted. So it takes we have to pump each other up. Because we know we have to get out of the house, but we're very much like to be able to balance that and to know when, okay, this isn't probably what's best for us right now or what have you. So I thank you for sharing all of that.
And just asking yourself, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? Do I need a Friday night on the couch with my family with popcorn and let's all put on our comfy pants? Is that what I need? Or, do I want to go out and about and take the kids and what do I need right now? And, I'm making it sound much simpler than it is, which is why it's hard and why we all don't do it, because we do have to take other people's needs into consideration. But for me, I've just made the decision because I paid that price. I've paid that price. I had postpartum depression after all 3 of my biological children. I have a stepdaughter too. I didn't have her. So, but I had severe postpartum depression. And I really think there's a hormonal biochemical component, but I think there was a piece to it that I didn't honor myself in that, and just the very nature of having a baby, you can't take care of yourself the same way. Right. Everything's changed. And I didn't honor myself and listen to myself. And that was, if we want to talk about really ugly truths, that this is why it's hard stuff, right? Like when I had my last baby, he's 3 He's beautiful. He's a gift. I love him. I had to say the ugly truth to my husband and say, like, I don't love this. I really loved having older kids that I could just say, hey guys, go get in the car. And they just did.
Mm-hmm.
I had potty trained everybody. Everybody could wipe themselves. I was done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I love him. I don't love this. I don't love being back at the sleepless nights. I don't love, the crying, and I don't love it. And I said, I feel horrible because I should, but I don't love it right now. And so I need, so then it became, well, he's here. We'll keep him. So how can I take care of myself in this? And my husband said, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I need 4 hours of sleep, uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just would be a new woman if I could sleep for 4 hours. And he said, I got you. And he, I pumped, and he got up and did the bottle. And so it was simple,
Mm-hmm.
like that. And so just like, what do I need? Well, I'm not going to give the baby away because I'm feeling a little like frustrated right now.
And I'm just tired. Yeah.
But I really could use some freaking sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom guilt will get in the way,
I was just going to bring that up. I was just going to
the
bring
whole, I'm pretty good at taking care of myself. I still have the mom guilt.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I need is every month to go on a little trip, for a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
And I write, I decompress. I have a lot of energy expenditure. And so it just does me right. I have learned it fits for the next couple months. And my husband is totally on board, and my kids are great with him.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I leave, I'm like, I shouldn't need this.
Yeah. Right.
I shouldn't need this. But then we all have different needs.
Oh, of course. Well, just to share, my number one mom guilt is like, how am I doing my kids wrong? Like, if I lose my patience, or am I not talking about, this much or this as much as I should? Like, because here I am working with moms with self-love and healing. And am I doing that for my kids? Like, that is, oh my gosh, like that is the constant. And my kids are 5 and 2. So it's not like Jace, the older, he's like just getting to that point when you were saying like they wipe themselves, they can get themselves ready. I'm like, he's right.
Right. I made it.
But it's like, we went out to dinner the other night, and like he sat like amazing, and like Jalen, the little one, like, I'm like, we're not ready for this. Yes, Jace, you're ready. We're not ready for this as a family. But that's where that mom guilt is. It's like, what am I doing wrong with these, like, because I don't want them to have compounded emotions and like all this stuff that I'm learning.
Well, and I bet for you, Jenna, and you can tell me, like, don't get personal with me.
Get personal.
For you, is there some belief or program running in the background of, I teach this stuff, I should be not, what is it? I should be perfect, or I should be better than this, or I should, something, but there's some sort of standard measuring stick that you're holding, and you think, every other mom can be here, but I teach this stuff.
Right.
I should be here, and I'm not here every day. So it's the gap between here and here where your guilt lives, right?
Right. Well, exactly. Like, well, and just go personal, the root where everything else spider webs and stems out of is the I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. And it's like, I'm trying to get to the root of that, because every other limiting belief that I have healed from, that I have gone through, that I have brought to the surface and got to that root and healed from, is from that root. It keeps coming back to that.
I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to go through the process?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I mean, we can do it. It won't take long.
No, yeah.
This is going to be abbreviated.
Cool.
But
oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
So I'm not good enough. It's exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Everything else stems from that.
So just for the people that are listening, you can jot this down, or you start with the feeling, the belief, the statement, and exactly the statement. So is it sadness or is it rage? So hers is, I'm not good enough. Okay. Where does that live in your body? In your heart. Okay. Now let's just imagine that you could see your heart and you could see this belief, I'm not good enough. What does it look like? Is it a shape? Is it a form? Is it a version of you? What is it?
It's like I'm seeing my heart and it's like these gray like splotches
Okay.
on my heart.
You're doing great.
So excited.
My son, he's like, not the purple blob again, Mom. Okay, so gray splotches. Now I want you to kind of make those gray splotches, make them into a character, give them eyes and a mouth. And if they could stop what they're doing, turn to you and say a word or a phrase, what would it be? It's going to drop down or bubble up, a very simple word or phrase.
I'm here is what I
I'm
heard.
here. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm here. And how old was I when you came to live with me?
3 and then 5, but 3 came in my mind first.
Okay, so we'll go with 3. So what that would tell me as a practitioner is there's something that you need to revisit at 5 too, but let's go to 3 because that was the one. Okay, so I just see this is easy. What I want you to do, what you can do for yourself at home, you can take yourself through this process. I want you to relax and ask your mind, direct your mind to take you to a helpful scene, time, situation related to I'm not good enough when you were 3 years old. And then you just relax and your mind is doing the job. Like you've entered this phrase into Google and hit the search button. It's filing through all of its memories right now. And something is going to.
You just broke out something is going to
Something's going to come up. Yeah. Some image or something, some memory, something is going to come up. You're going to maybe see a little 3-year-old version of you doing something. And is anything coming in?
I'm like outside and I saw like coloring.
Okay. Yep. See, it's going to come in pieces, like in fragments, especially when you pick such a young age.
Right. Because I'm like, I don't have a memory of this.
And it's not going to make any sense. So, and this is where people go, did this really happen? It doesn't matter. Your subconscious, we're using your body and your imagination and visualization as a tool, as a door to your subconscious. And it's trying to tell you something. And so it's playing charades with you and you're just along for the ride. So you're outside, you're coloring. And what else? What else do you notice?
I'm on a driveway.
Okay. Are you happy? Are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
I'm
happy.
happy.
Okay. Okay. You're on a driveway. You're coloring. What else?
I keep seeing the house, but I wasn't living in this house when I was 3.
That's okay.
Like that's the house that I'm at.
Okay. So you see the house that you live in now?
No, when I was probably like middle school-ish.
Okay. So you see the house, and what about the house?
Gosh, I loved that house. Maybe that's why I'm going there. The house, like I'm just seeing like the off-white creamy color. The trees, the acorns falling.
Okay, your mind chose the scene for a very specific reason. So what is happening or has happened or not happened that is important here related to I'm not good enough?
Yeah, I'm just sitting there and I'm alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
How do you feel about being alone?
Like I was just like looking around, like gazing. Like that sense of loneliness is there now.
Yeah. Okay. So what has happened or not happened that you're sitting there alone?
I don't know. Like,
yeah. Okay. That's okay. And what is that? So you have access to this little 3-year-old's thoughts and feelings. What is she it's going to be very simplistic. She's sitting there. She's looking around. She's outside. She's alone. She's feeling a little lonely. What is she thinking about this, about her?
My sister popped in my mind. I have an older sister. So my sister popped in my mind. If that's like kind of where that loneliness is coming from, neglect.
Okay. and I'm not good enough.
The hand-me-downs,
Mm,
and that type of stuff.
yeah.
Um,
So something about like, and we're talking about 3-year-old logic here, something about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that, and I'm kind of connecting to you right now
mhm.
about, I'm not like look at her, she gets all the clothes new, she gets this, she gets that. I get the hand-me-downs, I get this. Like you probably somehow notice you don't have the same privileges. Is it something like that?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So, and what about that makes you not good enough? Something, there's another belief under I'm not good enough. Something like what?
What I do is never enough. There's always
Yeah. What
yeah.
I do. Oh, no matter what I do, it's just not enough.
Whew, I cry a lot. On
Yeah.
one of my episodes, I get emotional, and that's
Isn't
mhm,
that crazy? Like, so that is hidden
mhm,
inside of you. No matter what I do, it's not good enough. And so that's going to hold you back in a lot of things because maybe you're going to want to like go for something big.
mhm.
Um, but there's that inner critic, inner voice that's no, you don't. Yeah, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, well, no matter what you do, it's not going to be awesome. You know,
Mhm,
it's not going to be as good as you want it to be. It's not going to be as good as it would be if anyone else did it.
mhm,
And, okay, so how does that, so then you find, let's do a little thread to
mhm.
like today and where that you bump up against that belief today. Can you find a situation or how is it similar to that 3-year-old?
Mm. I could bring up my business, let's say,
Okay.
going, to college, getting a degree in
Mm-hmm.
oncology.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously do not work in that anymore. And when I left healthcare, it was finding my way because I felt so drawn to helping people. And I'm still kind of on that. I'm here now, but on that morphing journey of I started in network marketing, kind of like fine tuning of what is
Yeah.
that because I'm not successful here. I'm not successful here. I'm not successful here. I had a successful degree. I had a very successful career working in oncology, and I left that.
I so identify with that because I left nursing and it was like a finding my way. And
Hmm.
so as you're finding your way, maybe it doesn't feel good enough.
Hmm.
And we're talking about this measuring stick image keeps coming up in my mind, Jenna.
Hmm.
My oncology degree was here and I'm doing all this stuff and it's just not there, but I want it to be, but it's not. And so it's the distance between there and there
Hmm.
that is just not good enough. And so that makes you feel bad about yourself and judge
Hmm.
yourself and
Hmm.
criticize yourself. Okay. So now I want you to go back to that 3-year-old scene. And this is where the energy work, conversational energy work part comes in. I want you to mentally apply white light to that image of that 3-year-old on that driveway, feeling neglected and not good enough. Just lots and lots of white light. White light is the highest vibration in the universe. Pure love, peace, light. It can transmute and heal anything, but it's going to swirl around you, around the scene, around that feeling of it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for the new things. I don't get all the best experiences. And what changes? Sometimes either the imagery changes or you start to know something different.
So I do this every day in my meditations.
Mm,
Not at this scene.
yeah.
But I meet with not a 3-year-old self, almost like a 5 to 7-year-old self in a meadow every single day.
That's awesome.
And meeting with her just now, she like jumped up and gave me the biggest hug.
Yeah, she gave you the biggest hug. And what is her message for you?
We got this. That's
We've
what she
got
said.
this. Yeah, we've got this. But something else. We've
Mhm.
got this. Keep going. So we've got this. And because there's a yeah, but We've got this. Lots and lots of white light. Is that it? It might be it.
Said thank you.
Mm-hmm. Something about how awesome you are.
I mean, a 3-year-old wouldn't say this, but what came to me is like, you're breaking cycles. You're breaking whatever you have going on inside of you. Let it be even generational cycles. Like I kind of just had this whole like swirl of.
Okay, there you go. I was like, no, there's something else here. So giving yourself more credit. You're not just doing a podcast and having a business and helping moms, which are wonderful things, right? You are doing so much more than that. And you can't maybe put that up on that yardstick, but man, I'm pretty awesome. I'm proud of myself. And then, does that feel good? Then I want you to come to today, to that scene you kind of were thinking about today with your business, and lots of white light around that, around you, around your thoughts, around your degree, about leaving that and finding your way and the journey and all the things. Lots and lots of white light around you and all those things. What do you start to know differently?
A lot of things that I mark up to be quote unquote like successful is like finances and the 7-figure
Yep.
and it was just like this laugh of like, what would you even do? Like it's
what would you even do with 7 figures?
Right, like you're doing so much, like you don't need a lot, and it's like success is so much more than a dollar figure, and that dollar figure is what we as humans get so stuck on, but it's so much more. And the money is just such the surface level answer. But I don't think it's like done, like processing, because then I went back and I was like, but generational wealth. And they're like, but generational wealth isn't just finances. So it was like this big kind of.
So this kind of white light energy is kind of showing you like your measuring stick in this instance is money, but can we change the measure? Instead of cups, can we do tablespoons?
Right. Right. And look at the impact versus.
Yeah, the impact, all the people that your podcast has reached, all the people that your method has helped, all the people that you don't even know that you've helped. Like, can we talk about that? And I keep hearing your needs are taken care of.
100%.
Yeah. And so I want you to imagine that yardstick that will not leave my head, and lots of white light around that yardstick. Okay. And what happens to that yardstick?
It shrunk.
That you are right where you're supposed to be, that you are perfect, that you are on track, you are on your highest path, that the best thing you can do is just listen to yourself and give yourself more credit. Like a lot more credit.
Talk about the perfectionist people pleaser.
Yeah, like a lot more credit. Look at what you've done. You've done what people dream of doing.
I know, like
you left the 9-to-5 monotony. You were brave, ventured out into the unknown. You've created something. You've struggled and found your way, finding your way, whatever. Like that's amazing.
I know that. So, and it's like, is this just like the outside?
See,
like, I know that. I know
this is, we're all smart women. We can't intellectualize ourselves out of those root cause beliefs. You can't. They're just going to lurk and on you. And so my guess is you are not going to feel so guilty all the time now. And it's really funny because you didn't even start doing this because of the guilt. You just said not good enough. But one thing I have learned with this process is your subconscious mind will marry the issues that you brought to the table and weave them together in the most beautiful way. It just always works out that way. Last thing I want you to do, I want you to go back to your heart with those gray splotches, lots and lots of white light around those gray splotches. you'll start to notice that they start separating from your heart, a little space, a little air, so that they start becoming separate, no longer part of you, but separate from you. And then you might notice that they desire an exit point. Where is that exit point?
It just like dissolved.
Yep. Okay, great. So they dissolved, lots of white light around the area that they were, where they were, till you're feeling whole, healed, and take a deep breath. So that is how you release an emotion and a belief. That's how I do it anyway. There's lots of ways. But how do you feel?
Really good. Thank you. I absolutely love working with other practitioners that have their own mastery, and you work in root cause work, and that has been something I've been so fascinated on. Nervous system, root cause work, subconscious mind, and this complements so well in the sense of when I work with clients with energy healing, without being certified in root cause work, like we get to those points, right? And with me, with self energy healing, I have released so many emotions. I have healed through so many things. And that's how I've come to that conclusion of like that root not being good enough. So thank you, because root cause and subconscious work has been something I've recently become so infatuated with, because when it's like connecting the dots, right? I'm figuring out like how I have my own model of energy healing and then bringing in meditation to help with nervous system regulation, and I'm finding through that energy work we're getting to those root cause things, and it's in that connecting the dots that I'm almost like just mastering my own method. And thank you. Like you have opened so many doors and lit so many light bulbs in my mind with continuing my education and to be able to better serve other moms, because I feel so strongly that stuck emotions and root cause work and subconscious work is just so pivotal. So thank you. On top of course, energy healing and the energetics, and of course, meditation. And
this is just it's a specific process that I came up with over the past 10 years through my, energy healer days and my hypnotherapist days, and then a little bit of the subconscious root cause stuff. And it's a method. I call it the body speak process. I teach it to every single one of my clients, because my thing is you've got to have the tools to handle stuff as it comes up. And it's all accessible. So this is a specific 10-step process that are journal prompts that you take yourself through, and you don't think about it while you're doing it. You just do it.
Right.
And it just, once you're used to it, you break it down into 1 step or 3 steps, and I can do it in 5 minutes, and it just makes, I don't have to hold on to uncomfortable feelings for hours, weeks, days, months, years. And I can understand where they're coming from. Your mind is saying, hey, this is a lot like that time when you were 3 years old, and it's all the same feeling. And then you get access. The white light brings in the access to your inner guidance. So hopefully the people that listening got something out of that and can apply that kind of process to something in their lives. The biggest thing is you just kind of have to trust what comes up. Like she saw an image of a house, but at first she's like, oh, it's a house I didn't live in. But everything that comes up in your experience is important.
Gosh, I'm at a loss for words, because every day when I am in my meditation, and I said I kind of meet with that 5 to 7-year-old, because I've done emotion code. I've had like an emotion code. Have you heard of emotion code?
Yeah.
I've had an emotion code session, and I almost went into that because I was like, this, like the subconscious stuck emotion, this is like so fascinating. I want to get into this. But I chose the meditation route first. I feel like I'm in this huge consumption era of life, right? So I did a session on myself, and that was who we were working with, was that 5 to 7-year-old self. So I never really took it a step further, because obviously we have multiple stuck emotions, right? Or we can have multiple stuck emotions.
Yeah, I think so. When people first start doing this, when I first started doing it with myself, it was often daily, I would say. But I was going through an intentional period of healing, and there was a lot of, stuff coming up, and it's almost like then your subconscious mind goes, oh, we're healing. Yay. Heal me,
Yeah.
heal this, I got one for you. And
Uh-huh.
so
Right.
if you can commit to it, and do it, then all of a sudden it's less frequent. Now I do it like once a month, twice a month,
Mhm. Right.
like maybe just as stuff comes up and it still surprises me. I'm like, I still got, to process that. Are you kidding me? There's just
Hmm.
more sadness there. There's more sadness there. It's, I had one client give me a call and I was in a session. So I didn't answer the phone, and she left me a message. I need to make a session with you. And I called her back like 2, 3 hours later, and she said, oh, I don't need you anymore. I went through this. And I was like, great.
Uh-huh.
She's like, I figured it out. I feel better. I'm fine,
Amazing. Yeah. Oh my
so
gosh.
just,
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for helping and just walking us through that live. I'm not editing it out. That is perfectly, it's amazing. Like that's just, we had no idea we were going to do that. So
I
here we
had no
go. Like that
idea.
was awesome.
I had no idea. And I usually don't actually, but I felt called to do it. And, and then I was confused why I felt called to do it when I started feeling your, I don't want to use the word resistance,
Hmm.
awareness,
Hmm.
that you're on a platform. You're like, there was part of you was like, holy crap, I'm on a platform and
Vulnerability, weakness. Oh my gosh. This is, yeah.
and what might come up, and your mind will always protect you. Nothing will come up, that you don't want to know,
Hmm.
and nothing will come up, like it'll be a different session in front of people
Sure.
than privately.
Right.
So because your mind will protect you. And so your mind kind of went into that, wait a second, mode. And I was like, I don't know if we should have done this, but then it was fine.
No, and I mean it's beautiful because like with when you just said that you went through this season of you were doing sessions with yourself every single day and you came out and now you're like okay once a month, a couple times a month when things come up. Like that's been me the past couple years. Like I'm in the thick of my personal healing journey. And also it's like all these light bulbs, the spiritual awakenings, the this is my life work and what I'm going through now is what I am meant to do, like without a doubt. And I have such a synergy of personal life with my life's mission and my soul's work, and I'm in that thick right now of like I was doing healing sessions daily. Now it's like every couple weeks, and I see myself, the growth and the impact and what you said. Like now, you're doing every month or so. Like I see myself on, I don't want to say on the outs, right, but kind of in that evolution of work that I've done and the healing that I've done. And now it's like those really, really deep, rooted things that we work through today. And it's, gosh, you have inspired me so much in my personal life and kind of where the direction and the clarity, like I have gained so much clarity during this call. I can't wait to process. And it's just so beautiful going back to that thought. It's so beautiful how we are always on a constant healing, growth, evolution journey if we are aware to it or aware of it. Okay, in another breath. What I said, like how I know on the outside, like the impact and how fortunate and oh my gosh, like this is, I wouldn't be wanting to be anywhere else in this moment in my life.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how, what you said, like you're thinking like your 3-year-old toddler self, like the irrational, pieces.
Yeah. And
That
see how many times you're like, I know this stuff.
Yeah.
Logically, I
Yeah.
know it. Yeah. But your nervous system doesn't.
Sure.
And, and were you aware that you had this metaphorical yardstick? Maybe.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. We always kind of are aware, but I think for me, it was like, but I don't know what to do about it.
Hmm.
I can't talk myself out of it. I can't affirm or reason or, you have to go to the level that it was conceived.
Hmm.
That's been my experience that when true healing happens is when, you go past the level of affirmations and even reframing and positivity, and you've got to go to where it was, you have to go to the 3-year-old.
Well, exactly. And I'm learning that also because
Yes.
like affirmations, they're amazing. It helps reframing your mindset and leaning towards gratitude and love. but there's so much more depth there, right? And I mean, that's what this whole episode was about. And I just thank you so much for your space because
absolutely.
Yeah.
Affirmations are great but you have to believe them.
Yeah.
You have to believe, if you believe what you're saying is true, then they're great. But you have to scan your body. If there's any part of you that's like, yeah, but then you need to, that just shows you there's work to do there.
That's the work. Sure. Exactly. Thank you very much. Tell us kind of where we could find you. Websites and any programs that you have, offerings.
So I'm very active on Instagram, and my handle is @Claire.Uncapher. You can get a lot of free content on Instagram. And then you can go to my website, claireuncapher.com. I'm really excited. I'm rolling out a community where I will have access to every course I've ever made, all my meditations. It's called the Healing RX community. I'm really excited about it. I, in the past, have just done the one-to-one coaching, but a lot of people were asking to continue or wanted it to be more accessible. And so I just put it all within this community, and I'm really excited about it. So you can find that on my website.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll link everything in the show notes also. Oh my gosh, I'm so full of gratitude. Thank you so much for, again, being here and for sharing your wealth of knowledge and everything that we discussed. I'll link in the show notes.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Until next week, my mamas, as always, simply be you. You have everything inside of you to learn your energy of alignment and deepen your relationship within. We are sending our love and light.
Did you find this episode relatable and compelling? Please give me a review.
Thank you so much for spending this sacred time with me on the Balanced Mom Method podcast. I am sending you so much love and covering you in light, praying this episode has helped you in some way. And if it has, I'd be so grateful if you left a written review sharing how it's impacted your life. It truly lights me up hearing how you are on your way to your breakthrough. And also, please share this episode with another mom who may be struggling to remind her that we are never alone and to help give her that empowerment to take that first step. And be sure to check the show notes for additional ways to connect with me, our motherhood empowerment community, and if and when it feels good to you, learn how we could work together to help you reclaim your power, mama. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do. Sending my love and light.